And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net, should any emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, fullest sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, "If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout." And today we're currently featuring over 1,900 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of average peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best copy on our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in the selector is our local receiver audio. And today our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the other aimed at 134 degrees. In addition, 2 of the 3 may be rotated separately. They are selected by a 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented dipole antenna. One leg of this dipole is broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today, we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you'll protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you'll reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this is an area of the band where we have many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to keep their bandpass to no wider than 100 to 2900. Again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie, K1GZL, is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim. Copy? Yes, Jim, beautiful copy. You're 9 plus 10 to 20 over direct. From your home there in southern Indiana, right across from Louisville, Kentucky, and doing a nice job. It's foggy. We are in the clouds. Visibility's about just about 300 feet. We've had periods of snow today. We've only accumulated 1 inch, but it was a very wet snow, right at the freezing point, but it's not done. We are expecting more later today or this evening. I had a wonderful visit from Captain Mike and his co-pilot, Jay. Wonderful, and he was here last Sunday, late Sunday, well, this Sunday afternoon and Monday, and they left last Sunday. I'm trying to think of the 22nd. So I have a bit of Captain Mike right in the shack here. And also, just after that, 2 days later, I have him over northwestern Nebraska, heading west towards Sacramento, California. And then I also caught him on the tarmac, on the ground. And this was all on 40 meters, all on 40 meters. So if you're copying okay, I'll present to Captain Mike in the shack.
Yes, sir, Charlie, roll tape.
Yes, sir, Charlie, roll tape.
Okay, let's see what we've, wait a minute. Let me get that thing on. Let's see if I got it.
It's who now?
Well, let's say something.
K1GZL, KX4 Whiskey Charlie. Hello, Charlie, here at, on Sunday. What's today's date? The 21st. Here we are with Charlie at his station and with my good friend Jay, and we just finished a good QSO with Katie and Mike, and good to be here. Back to you there, Charlie.
Okay, Katie is Captain Mike's daughter, and she's 13 years old and got her general, so we worked her up in the general section. Now, I do have Captain Mike right here. If I can get this cassette in here, I'll be doing something. Wait a minute. It doesn't want to fit, but yeah, I think we've got it. Now he's in northwest Nebraska, and then he's on for a short period on 40 meters on the ground, and that's way off the side of my antenna. Here it is.
K1GZL, KX4 Whiskey Charlie. We're over north central Nebraska at the moment at 36. We're showing, ground speed of only 390 knots with a nearly 80 knots headwind. And we're showing just over 1,000 miles, 1,060 miles to destination Sacramento. And the temp up here this evening is minus 56 degrees Celsius. And the sun is below the horizon now. Still light in the sky, but getting dark very quickly. And our ETA is 9:45 Eastern, Charlie. K1GZL from KX4 Whiskey Charlie.
on the ground.
Turn to the north there, but great copy on both of you. Jim, you're about a 5'7" here, but 2'5", so good copy on both of you. K1GZL from KX4 with Charlie.
Okay, and that was Captain Mike on the ground in Sacramento, the capital of California, of course. And my antenna on 40 is way off Sacramento. It's way south. Go ahead, Jim. K1GZL. I hope you copied that.
Roger, Charlie. We're just curious now. The recordings from the aircraft, was that made after Captain Mike visited your QTH?
Captain Mike visited your QTH?
Yes. Yes, it was. 2 days. What he had done, he was in the evening. I had him here. It was probably about 8:30. 8:30. No, actually about 8:45 in the Eastern time zone here in the shack. And then he stayed overnight in Colebrook at a motel. And then the next morning he came up here around 8 o'clock in the morning. Then he drove. He and Jay drove from here late in the morning and down to Logan Airport and got I believe it's a 6 p.m. flight out of Boston, Logan Airport, and it takes just a little less than an hour, and he was in Philadelphia. And the next day, on Tuesday, he took off somewhere around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then arrived in Sacramento. Later that evening, I think Eastern time, about 9:50 p.m. So, and then that last recording was made less than 48 hours after he was here. He was all the way out west, K1GZL.
Roger. Well, you're building quite a treasure trove of recordings of Captain Mike and his aircraft endeavors, Roger.
Mike and his aircraft endeavors, Roger.
Well, he's a very interesting person, very interesting, and the experience on his flying career. Also, Jay, who was his co-pilot, has been a pilot himself for 20 years, and he is retiring. He is retiring next month, in the month of December. So it was a great visit, and it's interesting to talk to people that you talk to for such a long time. You visualize what somebody looks like, but you find that is not always accurate when you meet them in person. And of course, they're both excellent-looking people, and we certainly had a great time. It was just like listening to him. He sounds just the same in person as he does when he's flying. So I also have to give credit to the audio equipment they do have on the cargo jet, the Boeing 767. Okay, Jim, look, I won't hold it any longer. There's probably quite a few people that would like to get radio up checks and get everything, we might say, smoothed over electronically. KC9VKV, K1GZL. My voice is a little loud right now, but excuse it.
Roger, Charlie. Well, as always, just a splendid report there, and hopefully you'll be able to join us next Friday. We kind of count on you helping us get our Qso-Vlog net underway, Roger.
Helping us get our Qso-Vlog net underway, Roger.
Well, if I try to help, I just hope I may have a disaster with this antenna. There was a pole which I can't work at it very much, which was bent and broken very badly, and I suspect it collapsed. It collapsed. The SWR is not good at all. It's very bad. Right now it's foggy outside and 32 degrees, and is not snowing at the moment, but we are expecting some snow later this afternoon and tonight. That could add up another 4 or 6 inches. Okay, Jim, take it easy, and we'll certainly do our best to catch you next week. KC9VKV, K1GZO, we are clear. Always a pleasure.
Roger, Charlie, 73 up that way, sir. Thanks for jumping aboard there, and we'll see you next Friday. And just a reminder, this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Net. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's KC9VKV logbook on the YouTube search, and that will take you to this recording along with 1,900 other recordings that you'll be able to peruse. And the first probably 20 are most interesting, though, or probably maybe you might find interesting also. So that's the thing is KC9VKV logbook. I think we'll be able to work it that way now. This is KC9VKV, recording now live till 5. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
So if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Whiskey 8 Delta Kilo Charlie.
Whiskey 8 Delta Lima Charlie. What's the location there?
Lima Charlie. What's the location there? Correction on the call. It's Whiskey 8 Delta Kilo Charlie, and we are in Southwest Michigan.
Roger. And are you you're in 8 land for sure?
Roger. And are you're in 8 land for sure? Roger. Definitely in 8 land, and the name is George.
Roger, George. And what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, George. And what radio are you running today, sir? Currently we're running a 7300, as a lot of your folks calling in. A lot of the shows and played around with it, but we're generally not using the 7300 for our audio processing, so that's why I'm a little concerned about it. Yeah, I get some good remarks, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily good. But I am running a preprocessor UR6 QW 8-band preprocessor. The only thing I'm using on the 7300 is a mic gain, currently set at 60%. The compression is done in a preprocessor, and all other settings are there as well.
Roger, George. Well, for my taste, the compressor's a little too active. I'm getting a lot of suck-up. You know, a 3 will give you the same thing as a 6 without the suck-up. So, you know what I mean by suck-up. It's if you pause for just a nanosecond, you know, you hear the neighbor beating his wife in the back room there, it sucks up, you know. So a 3 will do the same thing without that suck-up. So, you know, if you might be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with, well, actually, I'm revising that just a little bit. It starts with you checking your bandpass. We want to start with the radio in a 100 to 2900 configuration on your bandpass. Roger?
100 configuration on your bandpass. Roger? Roger. That's where we're right now on the 100-2900. I did turn the compressor down to 2.1, and I also turned the gate up, which kind of controls some of the background noise bleeding in, and maybe that'll be a little different now.
Roger. Actually, you know, the game plan for that compressor is we just want to use about 1/3 of its capabilities. So if it has a rotary input, you know, like a volume controlled input to the compressor, we want that thing to be at maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, you know, just tapping into just 1/3 of its capabilities. Roger?
Just tapping into just 1/3 of its capabilities. Roger? Roger. It is a rotary. It goes from 1.1 to 6.1, and o'clock position would be 2-1. 10 o'clock would be between 2 and 3-1. I just turned it up there. We're also might make a difference. I'm running a high-O headset with the electric mic for the
Roger, Roger, George. Well, Milford has decided that I no longer need to be on their SDR net, so I'm going to have to bring them back up again. It only takes a flash, and then we'll be back. That's what I was monitoring you with the Milford SDR. And so I got them back up again. All right, so what we want to do now is I want you to go to your ALC with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, or you can go 100, 100, 100, however you do it, I want your cadence to be fairly up tempo, because that's the only way you can accurately get that ALC meter to reflect what's happening. If you go 1, 2, 3, the meter never gets a chance to actually reflect its reading. So as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 100, 100, and with mic gain in hand, adjust the ALC to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Adjust the ALC to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger. Okay, we'll be on 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, and right about there is mid-scale to 3/4 on the ALC reading of the radio.
Roger, Roger. Mid-scale to 2/3 is what we're looking for. And so now, if you would, why don't you give me about 10 or 15 seconds and let me listen to you as you tell me about your antenna system.
Tell me about your antenna system. Roger, Roger. Okay, we're running a mediocre antenna system here. We live in a restricted area somewhat. We have a 63-foot end-set antenna running horizontally at about 13 feet in the air. But it seems to be doing a pretty good job for us around the U.S. and Europe, so we're kind of happy with that. We are hoping to plan to put a 135-foot end wire up maybe in the spring there.
Roger, Roger, George. Sounds pretty good. I would leave it like that. I want you to leave your ALC display out for maybe the next week or so, that you can look at your ALC as you speak, and you will learn to be able to control the ALC with your voice. Roger, Roger?
With your voice. Roger, Roger? Roger, Roger. Yeah, I heard you talk about that before. Unfortunately, I didn't concentrate on doing that. And, I am watching my meters a little bit. It does show I'm peaking out a little bit less, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm sounding good either. So we'll go with that, and we'll play with it a little bit, and see if we can't use the proper way of talking and using that ALC to guide our speech.
Yeah, roger that, roger that. Yeah, and about, 3 to 4 inches off mic is where you want to be also. So, again, by looking at your ALC, as you're talking to somebody, you don't have anything else to do visually that much, and it's quite an education. And over a period of time, you'll be able to command the meter just by your voice level. You'll know what's going on, Roger.
You'll know what's going on, Roger. Roger. Well, I appreciate that. I know I watch the meters usually quite a bit, but it's mostly around, not necessarily the ALC, so I'll just put it on the 1, so it's the only one showing, and we'll start working on that part of it there.
Roger, Roger. Now, I don't have a really good enough signal to be able to look at my spectrum analyzer and say what's going on, but just by the ear, you are at my noise level, so it sounds like your EQ pattern is fairly good. I wouldn't want to be able to to work on that with as the signal the way it is. Maybe next week we might be able to get some better propagation and maybe be able to work on that EQ just a little bit more. But right now it sounds great. And if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording, and it will be cut 1 of 1900. It will be cut 1 of 1900, regardless of what YouTube says the name is. When you get there, you'll see that it is the correct week recording for 11/26/21. And give us. We'll probably get this posted up there by noon tomorrow, Roger.
By noon tomorrow, Roger. Roger. All righty. Well, thank you very much for the help. I know I tried to get it to you other times, and you're usually pretty busy, and I know you got others waiting out there. So we'll step on the side and listen out some more. And I want to thank you. You have some very educational episodes, and I'm really getting a lot out of that. So 73 to you. Have a good rest of the holiday weekend, and we'll try and maybe get back next week for a little bit of practice.
Roger, George. And just out of curiosity, again, the radio. Give me the radio that you're running and your location once again.
Running and your location once again. Running the 7300, the IO Pro 7 head, phone and mic, and we are in Denison, Michigan. It's about 10 miles southwest of Grand Rapids on the southwest side.
Roger, George. Thank you. 73, sir. Have a great afternoon, a beautiful weekend, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday. This is KC9VKV, the Qso-Vlog network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Radio you want to check out, give me a shout. November 4, X-Ray Yankee Charlie.
November 4 station, to come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
Come back slowly phonetically with the call sign. November 4, X-Ray Yankee Charlie.
Roger, and the name, please.
Roger, and the name, please. Good afternoon, Jim. The name is John. I'm in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is just on the outskirts of Chattanooga.
Roger, John, and what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, John, and what radio are you running, sir? I'm running the ICOM 7300 with a Ameritron amp, and my power output is about 200 to 250 watts. Over.
Roger, and you are in Foreland, Roger?
You are in Foreland, Roger? I'm in Foreland. I'm on the outskirts of Chattanooga, and I'm running a G5RV antenna and an ICOM 7300, and I'm running the smallest, least expensive HAL headset. It's called a Pro Micro, and it has the HAL element, the IC element in it. Over.
Oh, Roger that. Okay, why don't you give me about 15 seconds and tell me about your antenna system. Let me listen to your audio, Roger.
Okay, I've been out of amateur radio for approximately 10 years, and I just recently retired, and I got back in and got my ham station set back up, and I try to run about 50% ALC. I run 1% of compression, and let's see what my mic gain is on. I have to have a magnifying glass. Okay, I'm running about 55% mic gain, and I'm running about 50% RF power. Over.
Roger that. And you're running half power to make your amp work the way you want it to?
Make your amp work the way you want it to? That's correct.
Roger. Okay. Well, let's look at that compressor there. If it has a 1 to 10 input level, we want it on a 3. If it's a 1 to 100 input level, we want it on a 30. So we just want about a third of its capabilities. A 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. Roger?
10, 30 out of 100. Roger? Okay. I had it on 1, and now I'm turning it up to 3. And I guess the main reason that I'm contacting you is that I get good reports on 75. I get good reports on 20. But I get a lot of complaints here on 40 that people complain that I'm too wide.
You're running a 7300, and your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Is that a Roger?
It's running mid-scale to 2/3. Is that a Roger? Yes, that's correct.
All right, and what kind of, are you giving them like a 20 over or 30 over? Have they ever decided to think about antenna attenuation? You know, you can't, when you get 20 over on a radio, you need to take some action there. I run consistently with antenna attenuate just to avoid overloads, Roger.
To avoid overloads, Roger. Okay.
So, you know, the question back to them would be, what kind of level am I giving you? If I'm giving you a 20, you might consider, you know, running antenna attenuate, you know. But normally 7300 is extremely good about not overexceeding the 3KC mark or 2900 mark, Roger.
2900 mark, Roger.
Okay, well, should I switch to a mid? Should I change the band width to mid?
I think you need to change folks that are listening to you. You know, it's I've never heard of that problem on a 7300. So I don't know what to advise you. You could do that, but you know, it's a shame. I recommend that 7300 run 100 to 2900. That's the beauty about that radio, and as long as you stay, you know. But again, when you're running a third of that compressor, what it's doing, it's also helping your ALC avoid real hard peaks, because it will compress those peaks off the bat, you know, right out of the box, so to speak, before it gets to the ALC. So that's why I recommend, one of the things and reasons I recommend that, you know, and I recommend the internal processor, the internal compression. Because I know what that does, and I know what a 3 on that ALC does. You know, I'm not familiar with your outboard stuff, but I would suggest that what was the reason, could I ask, that you might have been using outboard equipment on the 7300?
The outboard equipment on the 7300.
Yeah, John, are you there?
You there?
I don't run any outboard. I'm just running the ICOM 7300, and I'm running a Heil headset and an Ameritron amplifier at about 200 watts, just enough to give me a little bit of kick. So, yeah, that was the other guy. I think you're confused. He was running that Russian board, EQ board, and I'm not running any of that. And by the way, my EQ is, I think, +3 on the treble and 0 on the bass. Over.
Yeah, so your EQ pattern is just very nice. I wouldn't change a thing about that. So you're running all internal stuff. You have nothing outboard, Roger?
You have nothing outboard, Roger?
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all, Jim.
Roger. Well, that's, you know, that 7300 is just totally it doesn't need any outside stuff. It is beautiful. So you run that compressor at a 3, and run your AOC mid-scale to 2/3, and I don't think you're going to have a problem. And if you do, ask them if if it's a 20 over signal that they're receiving, and that they might consider antenna attenuate, Roger.
Antenna attenuate, Roger.
Okay. Well, I'm in a really good spot here. My lot is about 150 feet elevated over a city park that has a lot of water features, a couple of creeks and some swamp, and I believe that really G5 RV that's at about 50 feet. Okay, well, I'm sure there's others that want to get in here and say good afternoon to you. So 73, Jim, and enjoyed visiting with you, and you're 5x5 into Chattanooga from the Louisville area. So good afternoon, N4XYC.
Roger, Roger, John. Now, I've just gone to my local antenna. You're about 40 over. My local receivers, good down to 100 cycles. So what I would like would be to extend this just a little bit longer. If you might have a nice 20 or 30-second radio story or minute radio story to give us since you're sounding so good.
Well, sure, Jim. 4/27/11. We had 5 tornadoes in my town in one day, and the winds took down all my antennas, and I really kind of got out of amateur radio for 10 years, and I retired, and I got back. I started looking for something to do as a hobby, and we had my ham shack, which I had a custom-built ham shack here, and we had it all stuffed full of Christmas decorations and various things. So I started cleaning it out, and I've been on the air for about a year now. And anyway, I'm really loving amateur radio this time. And I always ran Kenwoods. This is my first ICOM, but I'm sold. I'll never go back. N4XYC.
Roger, Roger, John. Sounds good. Thanks for the story. And you're, like I say, I've been looking at your EQ pattern. I can see it a lot plainer now on my local receiver. And you're wall to wall. You're down to 125 cycles and up, at the upper end where you should be. So it's just you have a very broad audio signal, Roger.
Okay. Well, the wife has the possum in the stove in the oven, so. She says it's about time for the chow hall to open, so I'm going to head that way, okay?
Yes, sir. Have some from me. 73, John. Have a good afternoon and a great weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. We're currently, recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey Bravo 9. Kilo Yankee 4 Hotel Lima.
The Whiskey Bravo 9 station. Come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
Yes, good afternoon, Jim. This is Denny. Whiskey Bravo 9, Mike Sierra Mike.
Roger, Roger. And this is Denny, Roger?
Yes, Denny. I normally am running a Swan 700, but today I'm running a different radio.
What are you running today, sir?
Yes, today I'm running my Kenwood TS890.
Roger, and what's you are in Nineland, what's your location?
Yes, Jim, I'm in Wisconsin.
Roger, Roger. Now, why don't you give me about 10 seconds on your antenna situation, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path. Roger?
Certainly. Yeah, okay. Certainly. Yeah, okay. Jim. They said the Kenwood TS890, and I'm running that into a double bazooka antenna, and for 80 and 40 meters, and that's up roughly about 30-35 feet or so. And I've got the Elecraft camp that I'm running, the small one there, the 500, and I'm running roughly, let me see here, the 350 watts. So that's that there, Jim.
Roger, Denny. We have somebody that loves to tune up on an active frequency. Please, it's not nice to tune up on an active frequency. All right, and you're running that TS890. That's a Roger, Denny?
Running that TS890. That's a Roger, Denny?
Yes, it is, Jim.
Alrighty, well, let's review a couple of things. I'm assuming that you should be running that bandpass at 100 to 2900. Is that a Roger?
100 to 2900. Is that a Roger?
That is correct.
Alrighty, then your compressor at 3, engaged and at a 3.
At 3, engaged and at a 3.
I don't have the compressor on at all at this time, Jim.
Roger. Well, go ahead and turn that on and at a 3. And it's part of our setup procedure. It helps the arrive at the 3 dB dynamic range at the end, and it's really a token amount. You'll never hear it on the air. Roger?
Really a token amount. You'll never hear it on the air. Roger?
Yeah, okay, Jim. I just turned it on. There, Jim. And I've roughly got it on. Well, let's see here. Yeah, I've roughly got it on here on, it goes to 100, so I've roughly got it on 24.
Yeah, just slip that on to 30. That would be the ideal point. 30, Roger, on that compressor.
The ideal point, 30, Roger, on that compressor.
You bet, Jim. You bet. I have it on 30.
Yes, sir. Now, with mic gain in hand, I want you to go to your ALC meter. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 100, 100, or 100, 200, 300, whatever it takes, I want you to speak rapidly and adjust your mic level to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
Your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay. 100, 200, 300, 400. Hello, test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 100, 200, 300. Yeah, I'm roughly, Jim, I'm roughly right in the ballpark of where I should be based upon your request.
Yes, sir. It looks like you're right at 3 dB, and that 3 dB means your average percent of peak modulation is running 80 to 85%. So you're precisely where you need to be. Your EQ pattern sounds pretty good. Might use a little one-click top-end boost. That's if you could go to your equalization page just for a moment.
Equalization page just for a moment.
Okay, what I'm running on the equalization there, Jim, hold on just 1 second, sir. Yeah, what I'm running in here, Jim, on the equalization, I'm running the high boost at 1. The high boost is at 1. So that's where I'm at with that. And just for the heck of it, Jim, let me try 2. Jim, I just put it to 2. I just bumped it to 2. Over.
Yes, sir. I like 2 a lot better. It has a little bit more edge to it. So there's your articulation point that we're looking for. So I would run that just like it is now. I would get the Gorilla Tape out and tape everything down.
Get the Gorilla Tape out and tape everything down.
Yeah, okay. Sounds great, Jim. Yeah, I normally check in and chat with you, sir. I normally have the Swan 700. I built the digital display, and for that, and I built the digital display for the Swan 500 too. So both of those radios have digital displays now that I built, and they're fairly accurate. For the most part, but they still are tube radios, so there is some drift, but it's not that bad. But anyway, yeah, I normally do chat with you with that radio. So today I said, you know what, I'm going to check in with Jim with my Kenwood and see how this checks out. I really, really appreciate all your help there, Jim.
Yes, sir. I want you to pull out your ALC meter for the next week or so, since you've got to need something to look at. Be watching your ALC meter as you speak, and be looking to get that meter running mid-scale to 2/3 all the time. And within a couple of days, you'll be able to command that meter directly to what you need it to be, mid-scale to 2/3, just by voice control. Roger.
Just by voice control, Roger?
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. I agree with you there, Jim. I totally agree. The other comment I want to make is, am I on frequency? I should be dead nuts on frequency there, Jim.
Well, as far as I can tell, you're absolutely perfect. Sounds beautiful to me.
Absolutely perfect. Sounds beautiful to me.
Quite a contrast to my Swan, where I jump around a little bit and dance up and down the band a little bit. But thank you very, very much, Jim, for all your help. I always enjoy chatting with you, and I enjoy just listening to your net here that you have on each week. It's very, very enjoyable, and it's nice that you help everybody.
Well, thank you so much, Denny. We try, you know, and I think everybody should be all that they can be, and some folks are more than, some folks are living my dream better than I am. There's a couple of mobiles floating around with 4 underneath the back seat, 4 amps in the back seat, and I mean, they're just, you know, oh gosh, just beautiful. So you know, that's the whole thing of being all that you can be, and that's what ham radio lets you be, you know, and as much as you want to be or as little as you want to be, you know. That's the beautiful thing about ham radio, Roger.
You know, that's the beautiful thing about ham radio, Roger.
Oh, I could not agree with you more, Jim.
I could not agree with you more.
Just kind of curious, how is my signal coming in? I'm getting you, Jim, times 15.
All right, I just started to look around. I've been copying the mail on Milford. That's where we started the QSO, and I just went over to my local antenna. Why don't you give me, gosh, if you have a nice little radio story there for about a minute or so, why don't you give me that, and I'll look around for part of that and see if I find a better path.
Oh, certainly. Thank you very much there, Jim. Well, I got into ham radio in 1970, so I've been in radio now for over 50 years. And I like having different radios, for sure. I've got this one here, plus, you know, I have those Swans. I also have a Elecraft K2, which I only run it at 4 watts. So it's kind of fun to play around with different radios. And I got to tell you right now, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm semi-retired. I still substitute teach, but I substitute teach at times that I want to teach, so it's kind of nice to be on my own schedule there. It really makes life easy. So anyway, thanks again, Jim, for all that you do. KC9 Victor Kilo Victor, WB9 Mike Sierra Mike.
Roger, Denny, sounds really good, sir, and glad that you're being able to do more or less what you want to do when you want to do it. That's the neat part about the older times in life. You know, you've been working pretty much on somebody else's dime. Now you're working on your own dime, and you can kind of do more or less what you want to do. And that's the neat thing about life. That's what I'm finding out anyway. You know, we are retired now, and so we do manage to be able to do what we want to do most of the time, and then the other time when we have to do what we have to do, you know, the money is the thing that makes that worthwhile. So it all comes together. Anyway, Denny, 73, sir, and if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV followed by the word logbook, that's KC9VKV logbook, that will take you to this recording. This will be cut number 1 of 1900 cuts, and you might find the first few really interesting. The first 20 or so we've picked out to intrigue, so hopefully you'll find that. 73, Denny, we'll catch you later. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Appreciate all your help.
Whiskey 3, Bravo,
Whiskey
Juliet.
Baker 9, Mike Sierra Mike. We'll be clear, but I'll be listening.
Roger, Denny, 73, sir. Other station calling, go ahead with your call sign, please, slowly, phonetically.
Whiskey 3, Bravo, Juliet.
Bravo, Juliet. Roger, what's the name there, please?
Okay, the name is John, Juliet Oscar, Hotel November. I worked with you once before, about 2 or 3 years ago there, Jim. You're sounding great out on the East Coast. I'm in the state of Maryland, Crestfield, Maryland, QSO.
Roger, and that is 3-land, Roger?
That is correct.
All right, well, I've got this map, and I had some switching problems before. I've got this map with LEDs strung out in the different regions, and I have a controller that will facilitate bringing up the right LED at the right time. The only thing is, the secret to this thing is it's a 12-position rotary switch. And the spacing between those contacts is very close. And I had a knob on the switch that was pushed down pretty hard on the surface of the switch is mounted. And what was happening was that the switch was not seating in the indents between the number selections. So sometimes, and I'm running LEDs, and pretty high impedance LEDs at that, and sometimes there would be just enough stuff between contacts that it would actually start blinking two regions at once, and I said, hey, who wired this, man? We got some wiring problems. But all it took was to bring that knob up a little bit off the surface so it could find its detent better in the switch. Anyway, so much for that. John, what radio are you running, sir?
All right, I'm running a Kenwood TS990. The microphone is a Electro Voice RE27. Driving an Alpha 76A, about 1,200 watts right now, into a 40-meter homemade vertical antenna that got put on my own capacitor hat on top. It's a 47-foot vertical, but running about 1,200 Alpha 76. Running about 1,200 Alpha 76A, an older Alpha amp.
Roger. Now, I've looked at your EQ curve. You have a nice top end there, nice and bright. You could afford to get a little more lower frequencies if you might be interested.
Yeah, I'm running about 3. I've been listening to you for a while. I'm running this processor on about a 3, and the mic gain is about a 5 or a 6. I've been listening to you talk, and I've been experimenting with some of the things that you've been bringing up.
Yes, sir. Now, John, you're saying a 5 or 6, and normally that mic level would be up around 30, 40, 50, somewhere in there?
Mic level would be up around 30, 40, 50, somewhere in there? Somewhere in there. I'm not that precise with it. I can cut the compressor off if you'd like. See what it sounds like. This is where I normally run it.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about what happens when you get down in those lower mic gain levels. What that indicates is that the microphone has a rather high output level. When you wind up with a 7, 5 right in that area, that mic is really putting out really, because normally those mic levels should be up around 30, 40, 50, Roger. So what you might start getting some distortion because that mic is so high output it might be overloading the mic preamp. What I would suggest is maybe that just as an interim step would be that you might pull off mic about 6 inches and see where your mic gain goes at that point, Roger.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, I'm about 6 inches from it. I don't usually eat the microphone, but I turned the mic gain down a little bit. I don't know if that sounded any better to you, but I know what you mean. I'm about 6 to 8 inches away from it right now.
Roger. Well, see, what it is the mic comes in right into the preamp tube. There's no attenuation before that mic hits the preamp tube, and the attenuation occurs after the preamp. So when you have the lower level mic gain, it's indicative that mic is putting out a really hot signal to your input to the preamp of that radio. Normally we want that up around 20, 30, 40, like I said. So a way around that would be which mic is that?
Which mic is that? This is the Electro Voice RE27.
Ah, the RE27. I'm surprised that it would be that hot. Usually those commercial mics are nominal, so you should be theoretically around a 20, 30, somewhere around that. You might, like I say, how close do you normally work it?
How close do you normally work it? Oh, right where I'm at right now. about 6 to 7 inches away from the mic normal.
I got you. I got you. All right. Well, let's go to your ALC and see what kind of level that we're talking about there. Maybe that mic level might be low to your ALC. We haven't investigated that. So I want you to go to your ALC, and as you speak fairly rapidly so you can see what that meter is doing, 100, 200, 300, fairly fast cadence, I want you to adjust the mic level until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 as you speak rapidly, and adjust your mic level for mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC.
And adjust your mic level for mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC.
Okay, well, we can do that. That seems to be right along in there, and that's just about 2/3 of the way right now. It seems to be working, well, it seems to be showing okay.
Yes, sir. Now, what level is your actual mic level? Where are you now in your mic level?
What is your actual mic level? Where are you now in your mic level?
I'm on about 4 right now. I didn't move it up too much. It went up about 4.
Yes, sir. I tell you what I would do. I would look in the book and find me a balanced resistor pad for that microphone for about 15 dB attenuation. So you could put this, you would build this little resistor pad that would, go in series with the mic output level. So then it would allow you to bring your mic level on up to about where you're up into 20s and 30s. Because right now it looks like, there's a good possibility that microphone level is so hot that it's introducing distortion into the front end of your mic preamp. So I would attenuate that level, about 10, 15 dB inline pad for that mic, Roger?
Inline pad for that mic, Roger?
Okay, Roger. Well, that's very good. Very good to know, and thank you very much. I've been listening to you, and you've been very helpful on the thing.
Yeah, yes, sir, John. And like I say, what you want to be is up there. Your input level wants to be somewhere around 30 nominally, and so whatever it takes attenuation-wise to get there, that's where you want to be. Because I'm sure that you are, since that input level is so low, it indicates that the microphone output is very hot, and so if you get that pad in there, and then you'll be able to turn your mic gain on up to around 20 and 30, and it should sound a whole lot better there, Roger.
Around 20 and 30, and it should sound a whole lot better there, Roger.
Okay, Roger. Thank you very much, and enjoyed speaking with you. I did it once before, a couple years ago there. I got you in the logbook. Thank you very much, and 7-3.
Roger, I could think of a very simple pad. Well, anyway, it's in the book. They're in the book, and you just want to do a 600 to 600. Probably would be close enough. You could also do I think that microphone is 150 ohms. You could do 150 ohms to 600, something in that area, Roger.
Do 150 ohms to 600, something in that area, Roger.
Yep, Roger. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Roger, John. And again, what is your QTH geographically?
What is your QTH geographically?
Okay, it's Chrisfield, Maryland, Fox Mike 27, Bravo X-ray. I'm about 30 miles inland from the Atlantic Ocean, sitting on the shores of the Chesapeake Bay.
Yes, sir. Absolutely beautiful. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube, do a call at a search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. It'll take you right to this recording, and we'll get it uploaded around noon tomorrow, Roger?
And we'll get it uploaded around noon tomorrow, Roger?
Roger. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Kilowatt 4, Tango, Oscar Radio.
Alrighty, there's a kilowatt 4 station. Kilowatt 4 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Kilowatt 4 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign. Yeah, the call here is Kilowatt 4, Tango, Oscar Radio.
Tango, Oscar Radio, Roger, and what's the name?
Tango, Oscar Radio, Roger, and what's the name? The name here is Tor, Tango, Oscar Radio, same as the suffix in the call sign.
Roger, Tor, and what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Tor, and what radio are you running, sir? I am running a 890, TS890, so you're on your second 890 today.
Yes, sir, and geographically, well, you are in Foreland, is that a Roger for sure?
Geographically, well, you are in Foreland, is that a Roger for sure? Yeah, in the middle of South Carolina.
Alrighty, I've got my Foreland beacon running there on my map, so there we go. And you're running that TS890, and if you would, sir, give me about 10 or 15 seconds and let me listen to you, your audio, as you tell me about your antenna system, Roger.
To you, your audio, as you tell me about your antenna system, Roger. Okay, Jim, currently I'm running on vertical, and right parallel to it. The vertical is a full size or a quarter wave 80 meter vertical with about 4,000 feet of radials underneath it.
Whoa, man, you're serious about that. Roger, Roger. All right, well, let's review a couple of things about your audio situation. First off, I'm hoping that you're running your bandpass at 100 to 2900. Is that a Roger?
To 2900, is that a Roger? Yes, that's correct.
Roger, Roger. Okay, now our setup procedure begins with your compressor engaged at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what we need for it to do to arrive at a 3 dB dynamic range at the end. Roger?
3 dB dynamic range at the end. Roger? Roger. And the mic gain here is currently at 30, and the mic gain goes from 0 to 100, so I'm about at 30 right now.
Roger. Now, the important thing about the mic gain is how it affects your ALC. So with mic gain in hand, go to your ALC meter, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 100, 100, or 100, 200, 300, however you do it, you want a fast, relatively fast cadence, so you can get that meter up to be able to see what it's doing, and adjust it for mid-scale to 2/3. So ALC meter running mid-scale to 2/3 by way of mic gain adjustment. Roger?
By way of mic gain adjustment, Roger? Okay, gotcha. It is a little bit above that right now, so I'm going down just a little bit here on the mic gain. Mic gain is now at 27, and it's running about half to 3/4 scale here. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And we do that because we want, I mean, we could get fatter, but what happens if you get above 3 dB dynamic range, the words really start to blur. And you actually start defeating your purpose because those words are becoming noticeably distorted as they get fatter. So we picked a 3 dB dynamic range because it's a nice compromise. It's an 80 to 85% of average peak modulation and just crystal clear words. Roger?
Just crystal clear words, Roger? Roger. And just as FYI, I'm running with the processor on, of course.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we wanted. That's part of the setup procedure. Keep that compressor on at a 3, Roger.
That's your compressor on at a 3, Roger. Right, and the compression is showing about 10 dB at the moment when I'm talking.
Yeah, you have a 1 to 10 input level control on the compressor, 1 to 10, or is it 1 to 100?
Compressor 1 to 10, or is it 1 to 100? Well, it's actually 1 to 100, actually, but the meter itself goes from 0 up to 20 dB, and I'm right at 10 dB right now.
Roger. What would happen if you were to put the input level at a 30 out of 100? In other words, what we normally do is say a 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. If you were to put that on a 30, and let me listen to you.
30,
Yeah, okay. Let me see here. Let me get into the menu here real quick.
Because, you know, the thing is, the way a compressor works, a 3 out of, a 30 out of 100, it gives you the same thing as a 60 out of 100 without the suck-up. You know, the only thing, when you pass a 3 or 30 and increase the compression, all you're managing to do is just suck up stuff between words. You know, it doesn't help you on the actual word itself. So a 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100 is the ideal setting to help you on the word itself.
On the word itself. Okay, I think we doubled a little bit there, Jim.
Repeat?
Repeat? I think we doubled a little bit there. What I was saying is I got input on the processor. I got an input and an output. The input is currently at 80 out of 100. And the output is currently at 27 out of 100. QSL?
Roger. Take the output at 50. Take the output at 50 and the input at 50, and let's see what we got there. Output at 50 and the input at 50.
Put it 50 and the input at 50. Okay.
I'm sorry. Actually, we want that input at 30.
I'm sorry. Actually, we want that input at 30. Right now, they are both at 50. Input is at 50 and output is at 50. Go ahead.
Roger, Tor. Okay, take that input and put it at 30. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking straight. It happens as we get on through the hour here. But yeah, input at a 30 and the output at 50.
And the output at 50. Yeah, I can see on the ALC it's way up there, so I'm going down to 30 right now. Now the input is at 30 and the output is still at 50. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And if there's a discrepancy with your ALC, use your mic gain to control it. Leave your compressor set 30% input, 50% output, and with your mic gain, make your ALC meter run mid-scale to 2/3.
Meter run mid-scale to 2/3. All right. Let me see here. It is actually between half and 2/3 as I speak.
Roger. It's a good idea to leave that ALC meter out. I mean, you got to look at something, so you might as well look at something constructive. Be watching your ALC meter here, say for the next week, and just begin to associate your voice level with your ALC meter. Pretty soon, you'll be like magic. You'll be able to voice control your ALC meter. Roger?
Voice control your ALC meter. Roger? Roger. I think we doubled a little bit again, but the ALC is currently between half and 2/3 when I speak. The compression level on the instrument is down to about 2 or 3 dB right now, instead of what I had to start with, about 10 dB. QSL.
Yes, so that's exactly where we want to be. That's the whole idea. We want that. We don't want to push that compressor, but we do want about 1/3 of its capability. So we want it in there, but not working really hard. So you know, it's nothing that you'll ever hear on the air per se. Roger, Roger.
Here on the air per se. Roger, Roger. Roger. Yeah, it's at between 3 and 5 dB on the deflection on the meter right now.
Okay, on the compression meter. Roger, Roger. That's beautiful. That's exactly where it should be. And the main thing is that your ALC be running mid-scale to 2/3. That is the important thing, Roger.
That is the important thing, Roger. Right, and it is right now. So that should be good.
Yes, sir. Your EQ looks good now. I mean, you could stand a little bit more on the bottom end. If you would like to go to your EQ page, and let's review that just for a moment.
EQ page, and let's review that just for a moment. Yeah, I got, yeah, you're right. Everything below about 900 hertz is below zero quite a bit.
Yeah, so what we want to do there, you know, I have on my logbook page about the 5th or 6th cut, is an example of what happens when somebody goes from QSO to contest with that switch on the bottom of the mic, that low roll switch. It's a graphic example of what happens when somebody flicks that switch and thinks they're going to a QSO EQ from a QSO EQ to a contest EQ just by hitting that low roll switch on the bottom of the mic. What happens is the mic just thins out. You know, it doesn't get aggressive, it just thins out. And, the voice going through the full range of audio is about twice as loud as it is when you roll out that bottom end on the bottom of that roll-off switch on the microphone. So it says a lot about the lower frequencies being just as important as the top frequencies. The thing is, I think, to have a very balanced EQ pattern where you have plenty of top-end content and you're good down to 150 cycles or so, so you have a nice full-range bottom end. That the same EQ you can use for QSO or contest, and it's going to cut, just as well in contest, better than other folks that are rolling off the bottom end. Because if everybody rolled off their bottom end, you're the only one that has a nice bottom end EQ-wise, they're going to hear you,
EQ-wise, they're going to hear you, Yeah, okay, I understand. I'm in the Equalizer I'm using currently, and 1.6 kilohertz is minus 1 dB. 1.5 kilohertz is minus 2. 1.2 kilohertz is minus 5 dB. And 900 hertz is minus 7, and 600 hertz is minus 14, 300 hertz is minus 16, Qso.
Roger. Okay, Tor, let's look at it this way. EQ is normally, I suggest that the EQ be flat through the mid-range, because the whole idea behind an EQ is the top balanced to the mid-range and the bottom balanced to the mid-range. And if you mess with the mid-range, it's so much harder for the top and the bottom to strike a balance. So I suggest that everything from 500 cycles up to 1.5K be flat. And that way it's so much easier for the top and the bottom to strike a balance with the mid-range. So I would suggest everything from 500 cycles, 600 cycles, somewhere in there, up to 1.5, 1.2K be flat, and then we will figure out what we need to do for top and balanced mid-range and bottom and balanced mid-range.
Balanced mid-range and bottom and balanced mid-range. Okay. I'm lifting up everything from 600 hertz up to 1.8, and it's completely flat. 600 hertz is way down to minus 14 dB, and 300 is still 16 dB.
Well, let's just put them all to flat. All through that mid-range, we go to flat. And see what we got there, because that's the whole idea, is to not have holes in your audio. You have a fairly fluid microphone, that is fairly frequency response wise fairly linear. So why would we want to do things in the mid-range that would mess with that fine frequency response range of the linear aspects of the reproduction parts of that microphone, Roger?
Yeah, the reproduction parts of that microphone, Roger? Roger. So everything is flat currently flat from 900 hertz up to 3 kilohertz.
Okay, all right. So what's the bottom end? What's it look like?
What's the bottom end? What's it look like? Well, the bottom, I haven't done anything to. It's still 600 hertz is minus 14 dB, and 300 is minus 16. 0 hertz, or all the way at the bottom, is also minus 16.
All right, once you put all those flat, let's just, we'll start from, what's your bottom control? Is it 60, 50 cycles, 60 cycles, 80 cycles? What is it?
50 cycles, 60 cycles, 80 cycles, what is it? It's 0, 300 cycles, 900, 600 cycles, 900 cycles.
What's your lowest frequency? Lowest bottom frequency?
Lowest bottom frequency.
And the lowest one says 0, so I assume it's a little bit less than 300 because the next one is 300.
Okay, so is that like an 8-band EQ and they start at 300 cycles?
An 8-band EQ and they start at 300 cycles?
It's an 18-band EQ. It's the radio EQ itself, 18-band.
Yes, sir, but they start at 300 cycles on the bottom side?
Yes, sir, but they start at 300 cycles on the bottom side?
Well, it starts at 0, whatever that frequency is, I'm not sure, Jim, but the next one, number 2 from the bottom, is 300 hertz, correct.
Okay, so that's a doubling harmonic. So if 300 is the second one, would you say the bottom one is 150 and the one above 300 is 600?
And the one above 300 is 600?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so let's put them all flat. Get them all flat there, and we'll see what we do here.
We'll see what we do here.
All right. It's currently all flat at 0 dB, all the way up, all the way from the bottom up.
Wow, sounds nice. All right, let's just go up to the top there. So we're flat from the bottom all the way up to 1.5K?
Way up to 1.5K?
No, we're at on the EQ. I'm flat from the bottom all the way up to 3K.
Okay, what you got at 3K?
Okay, what you got at 3K?
At 3K I got +2, and I got +2 to all the rest down to the bottom.
Repeat the last?
Repeat the last?
I got +2 on everything down. It's completely flat, Jim. From 3 kilohertz down to 150 or so, +2 dB.
Okay, can you hit 0 dB for being flat as opposed to +2? Can you hit them all at 0 dB?
+2? Can you hit them all at 0 dB?
Yeah. It's going to just a second or two.
Yeah, let's do that because that, +2 doesn't sound like much, but what you have is a peaky ridge thing all the way through the band.
A peaky ridge thing all the way through the band.
Okay, so now everything is at 0. Everything is level here.
All right, and so the top one is what frequency? 3K?
Is what frequency? 3K?
Yeah, 3K is also level at 0 dB.
Excellent. Okay, let's move that 3K +5, +4, +4 at 3K, Roger?
4, +4 at 3K, Roger?
Okay, 3K +4 right now.
All right, give me something. Give me about 15 seconds and tell me what you like best about your radio.
Seconds and tell me what do you like best about your radio.
Well, 3 weeks ago I got out of ham radio 15 years ago. I sold all the equipment. Take it back up, so that's the brand new radio I decided on using.
Okay, what I want you to do now, Tor, is go to your bottommost frequency and roll it 10 dB. Bottommost frequency, roll it 10 dB, or all the way out, whichever comes first.
Frequency, roll it 10 dB, or all the way out, whichever comes first.
Roll it down 10 dB?
Yes, sir, minus 10 dB or all the way cut.
Yes, sir, minus 10 dB or all the way cut.
Okay, we're there. Minus 10 dB.
All right. And let me hear you some more. Give me a little bit more, in about 10 or 15 seconds, about something that you would be looking for in the future, about something that you don't have now on your radio that you would like.
About something that you don't have now on your radio that you would like.
Well, I am waiting on an amplifier I have ordered, and it should be here in roughly 3 or 4 weeks, so that'll be a nice addition to the chat.
All right, take that low frequency all the way out. It is all the way out, is that Roger? All right, take that low frequency all the way out. It is all the way out, is that Roger?
It's a -10 currently, but I'll take it all the way down to -24. It's completely down, Roger.
All right, I wish I had a better signal on you. But, all right, so take the next one, the second one up from the bottom. Take it about halfway, about -5 or so. Take it about halfway, about -5 or so.
All right, 300 hertz.
Not nice to tune up on an active frequency. Not nice to tune up on an active frequency. So Tor, give me another little bit so I can hear your audio.
Give me another little bit so I can hear your audio.
34 kilowatt for Tango Oscar radio in the middle of South Carolina.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Let's get the top end before Mother Nature pulls the plug on us. I want something about 2.5K, 2.5K plus 3, or 2.5K plus 3, if you have something in that region. 2.5K plus 3, if you have something in that region.
Yeah, I got 2.4. It's currently at plus 3 dB.
Okay, take it to plus 6. Okay, take it to plus 6.
All right. 2.4 is at 6.
Okay, you wouldn't have any power anywhere around, would you? Okay, you wouldn't have any power anywhere around, would you?
No, I'm waiting on an amplifier. It's not here yet, Jim.
Yes, sir. Okay. Take the one above that. That's 2 point. What is the one above that one that we just adjusted? What is the one above that one that we just adjusted?
We just adjusted 2.4. We're going to 2.7.
Yes, sir. 2.7 plus 3 clicks from where you are. 2.7 plus 3 clicks from where you are. Boost 3 clicks from where you are on 2.7. From where you are. Boost 3 clicks from where you are on 2.7.
All right. I'm 3 clicks up on 2.7. 1, 2, 3. Kilo 4 tank.
Okay, I'm down to 1 SDR. I'm down to Arlington SDR copy in the mail. You sounded pretty good. I just wanted to get, and the bottom end is sounding nice. I just want to be sure that we have enough top end for balance. So come back and let me hear you again on the subject of your choice, Roger. On the subject of your choice, Roger.
Holy cow, you're loud. Yeah, the subject of my choice. Well, I'm a native Norwegian Viking imported in 1990. You can probably hear the South Carolina accent here real good. So if people ask me, Tor, where are you from, I always answer with from South Carolina.
Roger. I think we're there, Tor. I would love to play with that a little bit more, but I think our conditions are kind of not beneficial to us at the moment. I think they're getting worse. I think you're in a good position at the moment, so we could probably get a little bit closer, but right now I think it does well, and we could get some tape out, Gorilla Tape, and taper down for the moment. And maybe if you could join me next Friday, we could double check it. Maybe we'll have some better conditions, Roger. I'm sure it's beautiful. I got a couple of bursts there down on Arlington, and it sounded really good. Arlington SDR is the only SDR that has a full range bottom end. Arlington SDR is good to 100 cycles, so I could really hear balance on that. If I can't copy you on my my regular antenna, which that circuit's good down to 100 cycles, then Arlington is second best, and so you sound good on Arlington, Roger. Arlington is second best, and so you sound good on Arlington, Roger.
Your help, KC9 kilowatt for Tango Oscar radio in South Carolina. Thanks for the help, Jim.
Roger, Tor, and just out of for knowledge there. I've been copying the mail in Arlington, and you disappeared from Arlington, but you showed up in Georgia. So who can say? Anyway, try to grab a hold of us next Friday afternoon there, and we'll take it up some more. Roger?
Friday afternoon there, and we'll take it up some more. Roger? Sure, no problem, Jim. You have a good one there, 73.
Yes, sir, and you're sounding good in Georgia. Sounding really good in Georgia. That does not have the bottom end that Arlington does, but you sound good on both of those. So, that's what we're looking for, something that does have the bottom end but doesn't sound, bad, that it, somebody's not copying that bottom end. Anyway, 73 Tor, and see you next Friday. This is KC9VKV. Oh, and Tor, if you want to, hear your audio, go to YouTube. Do a call letter search KC9VKV followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of 1900. 73, sir. Catch you later. This is KC9VKV, Friday afternoon, Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Alpha 3, Oscar Alpha Zulu.
Oscar Alpha Zulu, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Oscar Alpha Zulu, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
No problem. It's Kilo Alpha 3, Oscar Alpha Zulu, John in Monongahela, Pennsylvania.
And what was the name there?
What was the name there?
John, Juliet, October, Hotel, November, John.
Roger, John. Okay, let me, are you in Threeland?
Roger, John. Okay, let me, are you in Threeland?
Yes.
Okay, I got my map blinking on Threeland, so there you go. And let me, if you would, why don't you give me about 10 or 15 seconds telling me about your antenna system. Let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
System. Let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Roger. I have a 32 12-foot radials around the base of it, and it's fed with 64 feet of LMR 400 through a polyphaser and up to the radio here. We're doing about 600 watts at this time. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, John. I've got to my local antenna system, and you're doing about 15 over, but you do have some distortion in your audio. It sounds like you might be getting some RF in your AF, Roger?
Roger. Yeah, I've been having that issue. I'm on the second floor, so it makes it kind of tough for me to actually kill all the RF. Go ahead.
Okay, what I would suggest is move your microphone furthest away from the power amp that you can, and let's see if that makes a difference.
All right, we're moved away now. Kilo Alpha 3, Oscar Alpha Zulu.
Still there. You wouldn't happen to have a hand mic around, would you?
Yeah.
Let's try that and just see if that's what it is, Roger.
All right, this is the hand mic only.
It sounds better, but it's still there. Why don't you give me a little bit longer transmission? Give me about 15 seconds. Tell me about your antenna system so that I might listen to your audio.
Okay, that's a DX Commander Classic, all-band vertical, works 6 meters to 80, using a 80-meter inverted L, and seems to work pretty well. I had it for about 2 years, and it's been sitting out there ever since. It's all ground-mounted, okay?
Yes, sir. We're better, but we still have it. So what I want you to do is dump your power amp, and let me hear you without the power amp.
Okay, this is 100 watts only. Kilo Alpha 3, Oscar Alpha Zulu.
Yes, sir, clean. So you're getting RF back into your audio. I would suggest that you move your antenna lead at right angles to your radio set, your radio desk. In other words, don't bring that RF back to your radio desk area. Get it, if you have to, move your table on downstream so your antenna lead is moving away from you, not into your area. Roger?
Hey, Roger. Okay, yeah, I've been having issues, and I do have some copper coming, but it's been slow.
Yes, sir. The other thing would be to, you do have some kind of a ground system running downstairs, Roger?
Roger, yeah, I have probably, what is it, 3/4 inch copper tape, I guess you would call it.
Roger. Well, you know, old RG8 will work just as RG8 to RF is like, you know, almost a 1-inch copper pipe. So you can use RG8 as a ground transmission line to ground, just as well as anything else. So if you have some RG8 around, I would use that as a ground strap down to your ground rod, and I would suggest using 2 ground rods and run your power amp a separate ground for your power amp and a separate ground for your radio system, so you don't put those two together. Roger?
Hey, Roger. Yeah, I just ordered, I think it was the 4.5 or 5-inch ground strap. I forget what I ordered, but it hasn't come in yet. It was pretty expensive.
Yeah, well, if you know, like I say, if you have some RG8, I would try that before I, you know, unveil the other, and maybe you can, if the RG8 works, you could get rid of, you know, send that back and get your money back, because you know, I run actually 4 grounds. 2 grounds are tied together as 1 ground, and then 1 ground is off my my power amp, my antenna selector, and my tuner, which I don't use because I'm running a resonant a dipole antenna that you know, goes right to the radio. There's no need to tune it because you're already running 0.05 SWR. But I just could not see taking my mic preamp to the same ground as my power amp. So, you know, I'm running, like I say, 4 different grounds. 2 are tied together as 1 ground, and then 2 other separate ones, a power amp, and you know, like that. So, and pretty soon you will get to a point where things will simmer down some, you know.
Yeah, I guess it just takes time. Been working on this project for a while, and everything's still not completely done. Too much work and not enough play, guys.
Yes, sir. Okay, but you're sounding good on Barefoot, so let's go with that. Your amp, once you get everything nullified and worked out, well, it should be no difference except you get louder. It should not interfere in any way with your audio system. So if you would like to go ahead and we'll process your radio there, I would suggest that you bring your preamp on board. Now, this is something that, well, gosh, that's not going to help your other thing. We need to really resolve the RF and the AF first before we can really do much. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. No problem. Yeah, it seems like it works a lot better on 80. I have no issues on 80s, but once I get up past 80, it seems like everything goes downhill. But I really appreciate the help.
Yes, sir. Your EQ curve is nice. I wouldn't change that at all. It sounds really nice. And you look to be running fairly decent dynamic range, like around 3 dB. So I would just leave everything like it is and then just work on trying to get that RF out of the AF. Roger?
Roger. Thank you very much, Jim. It's nice talking to you.
Yes, sir. Good to talk to you, sir. And you know, I wish you luck with that. All you take is persistence. And I'll tell you something else. If you can find an old, like a CB SWR, portable SWR meter that has a little antenna on it, and you can use it as an RF sensor, you know, that way you'll be able to see your RF levels. You'll be able to sniff around with this little thing with that antenna looking for RF. And you know, because when I had my problem, I said, geez, if I could just see the RF, I could solve the RF and the AF problem. And then I had this flash, wow, well, you know, I've got this meter here that you know, it's it's got an antenna on it, and I can actually pull the antenna out, make it more sensitive, close it in, make it less sensitive, but it allows me to see where the RF was. And what it was I run cable runs around the house, and part of those runs, within those runs are rotor antenna leads to the rotors, you know, and these are unshielded, and they were picking up enough RF in the cable run to be hot and coming into the studio, yeah, and so I could put this meter close to those, man, and it would just peg out. So I knew it helped me see exactly where that RF was coming in, and I just for the moment had to break them off and roll them up and put them away from the area until I figured out how to deal with them. Roger.
Contact Jim.
Roger. Yeah, right now I only
Stand by.
coax brand. I got IMAX 2000 I use for 10 meters, and what else do I have there? A Dole band 2 meter 440 antenna. They'll run out along with the 3/4 inch flat copper. 3/4 inch power. Three grounds there at the tower, one at the polyphaser, and then 2 more, because I have everything tied together with the home electric.
Roger, John. Well, you're about faded out, buddy. So I'll just see you next week, and hopefully you will have figured out that. And like I say, that little RF sensor will do great and allow you to see exactly where the RF is that you're trying to get rid of. So let me say 73, John, and you have a good afternoon, beautiful weekend. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call data search, KC9VKV, along with the word logbook, that will take you directly to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 of 1900 Qso-Vlog recordings. 73, John. And there was another station in there, This is KC9VKV. Go ahead.
Hey, Jim, it's Floyd, KJ4REZ. I know you were struggling to find out the name of that little meter, the field strength meter that Radio Shack used to put out, and they're still available on eBay for about $15.
Exactly. Well, I could have thought about it. You know, I could have wasted my time to think about it, to bring it forth as a field strength meter, but I just, at this point, don't have the energy. So I'm glad you helped me, Roger.
Roger. Well, what would have happened is you would have closed the net, and then you would have remembered what it was called. Anyhow, nice hearing you in there, buddy. Sounded good as always. KJ4REZ 73.
Roger. I'd have keyed back up 20 minutes later and said, field strength meter, and then cut off. That's 73, sir. Catch you later. Oh, gosh, what an afternoon. We're going to wrap this thing up here. We're 5 minutes into whatever we are. We turn into at 5 o'clock, but we'll say 73 and be returning this frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV Clear.